We want to bring in Fox News contributor and our good friend David Webb to talk about some of the things that have been happening overnight. And David, you just got a call from Lieutenant Governor
Peter Kinder in Missouri. Peter called me last night. Another police officer shot, but this time ambushed. Traffic stop. He's walking away. The suspect gets out of the car, shoots him in the back. He had no chance at all. Fortunately, in this case, they arrested him. And Antonio Taylor, 31-year-old black man, paroled in 2015 after serving time on federal weapons charges, charged with the assault of a police officer, had a long record.
Yeah, and this is all coming as President Obama is saying, well, things aren't as bad as you think. Here is what he said earlier in Poland.
As painful as this week has been, I firmly believe that America is not as divided as some have suggested. That includes protesters. It includes family members who have grave concerns about police conduct. There's unity in recognizing that this is not how we want our communities to operate.
I mean, this comes, though, as we've been showing videos, Tucker. It looks like a war zone in many cities across the country. And then you hear a message like that from President Obama, and you're wondering what reality is he living in, because what we're seeing is something far different from what he's saying.
Well, he's trying to create a new narrative. Frankly, America has been united that we are a law-abiding country for the most part. But this Black Lives Matter movement, the new Black Panther Party, all of these groups have been given a new megaphone. The megaphone of the presidency of the United States, of the Democratic Party, of the presumptive Democratic nominee, of Bernie Sanders, of Debbie Wasserman Schultz. They were considering a Black Lives Matter town hall. That was done last year by the DNC. They've given a megaphone. Americans are mostly united. We have 800,000 plus officers or law enforcement officials protecting 300 million people. We understand this, but they have a huge megaphone. They have a huge effect. They go out, they destroy property. We see the assassinations of the police officers in Dallas. Let's not forget Wenjen Alou and Rafael Ramos here in New York. The police officer last night,
so
his spinal cord was severed.
The president's taking their side, just flat out. He and the attorney general, both of them explicitly, were on their side. I mean, is there anything more divisive he could do?
No, because this is where they diminish the effect when people commit these heinous acts, and they have this moral equivalency. They try to equivocate. Well, Americans are, of course, we're united against bad cops. Every large organization will have something in it, and cops don't like bad cops.
Nothing tells me doing the least amount you can possibly do with an emoji on your cell phone. And that's exactly what Twitter has decided to do with some of these, the hashtag Black Lives Matter. So if you had tweeted over the past year using the hashtag Black Lives Matter, Twitter has now retroactively added in the fist with different skin tones rising up. And even Hillary Clinton's old tweets have now had this extra fist added to her tweets because it's been backdated. Should Twitter have been doing this? Because the criticism this morning is, well, where's the Blue Lives Matter hashtag with any sort of blue shield or anything like that?
Look, Twitter's a private organization. They can do whatever they want. I find it offensive, but I think this works against them. And by this, I mean the American people get this. Again, the majority of American people are not out there in the streets, jumping on police cars, looting businesses in Ferguson. They're not out there doing these things. And what happens after a while? Just like Occupy Wall Street, the people are going to turn on this movement and reject it. And after Dallas, and after last night in Missouri, and as police officers around this country protect us, we have to stand up for them. Let them keep their stupid emojis. I get it.
Well, what is
they want to push it. It's marketing. But frankly, the hell with the emojis.
What does it even mean?
Let's focus on what we do.
Break down what the fist means, because even going on the sniper's Facebook page, there was a photo of him using that same fist.
It's the Black Power, the old Black Power, you know, salute, you put the fist up. Fine, they want to do that. At one time, it had a meaning, a social and cultural meaning, a fight for justice. It was hijacked by the hardcore leftists and the blacks. And now we have this coalition of anti-American, Black Lives Matter, you name it, radical groups on the left that are working together.
So I think all of us agree the country needs racial healing. I agree with the president strongly on that. When you think racial healing, obviously the first name that comes to mind is Al Sharpton, one of the president's closest domestic policy advisors. Here's his take on the recent events.
Both of them were killed by police based on they had guns. Now I miss the NRA coming out defending their gun rights that they legally have. Where is the NRA now? Where is Wayne Pierre now? Maybe you mean the Second Amendment are for whites only.
Wow. So that's the president's chief
Go-to
domestic
man on
policy
race.
advisor, visited the White House scores
There's
of
no
times.
calmness in any of that.
You know what? Al Sharpton sets up a false narrative. He wants to start the boogeyman argument just like he did with Tawana Brawley, which he'd like to forget. He starts with a lie, he starts with a false premise, and then we end up in that argument. So let me caution Americans, don't get into the wrong argument. Al Sharpton wants to bring the NRA into it. Because people buy guns lawfully because they haven't committed a crime yet or otherwise, if they commit a bad act as this man did or the murders, that is a bad person. We cannot change our laws and our systems to fit this, quote, social justice. There's no pre-crime in America.
Right. Well, you're going to be heading out to Times Square in a few minutes this morning. We're going to check back in with you. You're going to get the pulse of the people who travel to the greatest city in the world to talk and find out how we can cross this racial divide and get some sense of that.
You know what? Let me say this. America crossed the racial divide. There will always be race issues. There will always be issues in any society. But look at what we've done in 100 years of evolution as a nation. We reversed racism, sexism. We've done a lot to lead the world. And the world has joined in on that.
Yeah.
Some countries have not, but we've led. We can't look at it in the microcosm of a year, months, or a few years.
Right.
Look at the history of this nation.
It's a message you want to hear today.
We'll be checking back with David in
Webb.
a short time. Thanks, David.
Good luck out there.
Thanks, David. We'll see you soon.